Good morning. Happy Saturday, Juventini. This is a mini all Luve podcast. That's right. They left me in charge. It's as chaotic as you could think this morning. The gaffer has been temporarily sacked until next week. He's away at a football tournament. But, we're saying that he was sacked because, whatever. We got
Ask Nedved. Nedved.
Yeah. or Luca and Omer volunteered to be a part of the show. Thank you guys so much. You're the best. How are you guys doing this morning?
I thought we were getting money for it.
Yeah, I thought we were getting paid for this. I was
maybe,
told otherwise.
Yeah, for maybe, but not for me.
I'm logging out if there's no money involved. No, yeah. I'm good. All good. I'm excited for today.
All right. So this is a mini episode. It's going to be a little bit quicker than some of our previous ones. Shout out to Tony for running the show backstage. He's the man. Real quick, make sure to like and subscribe to the video on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter and follow Striped Hearts Apparel. There's some great drops. The Edgar Davids one that just dropped is really, really great. The Max Slager from last week is really good. And we got some stuff in the works that are going to be really exciting. So check that out real quick. Like and subscribe to the video. Striped Hearts. You got it. All right. So now that that's all the way, we're going to get right into this week. It's been a week since we last saw Juve, and it feels like a month because of all the news. A lot of things went down this week. We're going to start with yesterday's big news. Paulo Nomalo had a huge drop. It's in the thread on the All Juvecast Twitter account for you guys to find. There were some highlights in there. Some of the big ones were, if Keane goes, it opens the door for Raspadori. That Juventus want one of Milinkovic-Savic or Pogba. And most importantly, De Ligt getting the captain's armband and being kind of the focal point for, the leadership to come. We'll start with you, Luca. What were your thoughts on the Paulo Nomalo drop, and what were some of your biggest takeaways?
Oh, boy. Well, I think the De Ligt part was probably the biggest excitement I've had in weeks as a Juventus fan, as an Azzurri fan, as just as a Calcio fan. It's been a rough couple of weeks. So I think the Ligt news is always nice to hear. And not even the captain part. I think more just the optimism behind him returning. I think there was a lot of worry. If we go back a couple months, people talking about how, if we had to pick between, let's say, someone like Chiesa or De Ligt, if we didn't make it to, Champions League, now we don't have that issue anymore. I think we have a good structure going forward, and the fact that De Ligt has been a core and central part of it reassures not only him but all of us as fans. So for me, that is far and beyond the biggest news from that drop, and I think the happiest part of my entire month, maybe.
Omar, what did you take away from the drop?
Well, look, it was a really long drop, so I just need to go through it because the De Ligt thing was obviously the major news that everyone wanted to hear. Zaniolo was pretty much more of the same. Milinkovic-Savic is the most exciting one. Talks are getting hotter by the minute. His name being mentioned more and more, and is, in my opinion, absolutely the profile we need. So I like hearing more and more about it. I also think this is we've been hearing about it for a long time now. It's been 3-4 seasons that his name comes up when the Mercado arrives. It feels like Lazio are ready to give him up. There's still some competition. So I kind of think this is our last shot. If we don't get him this summer, then he's probably gone to somewhere else. I don't think we'll get another opportunity. I know I've said recently that it doesn't seem too much of an option because of the price, but it started to make more sense with the other names and the other type of deals that are going around for Zaniolo, Raspadori, etc. So that was the biggest thing for me in that drop.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that, Milinkovic-Savic, it's perfect. I think both of the De Ligt news and the Milinkovic-Savic news are two really important factors. With Dybala leaving, you now lose a player that's in the prime of his career and is, in terms of leadership, the link between the old guard that built that 9 Scudetto run and this bright young new guard that we want to bring us back to it, right? So De Ligt, from a leadership standpoint, he's the last to really win that Scudetto. He was there under Sarri. It makes a little bit more sense to give him, more responsibility. It'll be his fourth season at the club. And like Omar said, you're bringing in Milinkovic-Savic, who, rejuvenating is really great, but you need some 26, 27-year-olds to kind of have a little bit more experience to carry the younger guys through and, set a tone. I think Milinkovic-Savic has all that. And, he's a great player, and he's that, like Omar said, that type of profile we really need. Another takeaway from the Nomalo drop that was really interesting was around youth players. He had mentioned that some of the midfield talent, Moretti, Fagioli, Rovella, how could I forget Rovella, are all, people that could be used in swap deals coming up. And this is interesting because Allegri had a quote midweek that got a lot of flack from myself, a few of us, about, young players and, a 21-year-old being overhyped for 1 to 3 days and, not having the experience of a 28-year-old. So, Omar, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on kind of, Allegri's comments there? And, do you want to see some of these young guys be used in swaps, or would you rather us develop and, bring them into the fold?
Look, I'll move it over to Luca because my opinion is the flip side of the argument, because I'm going to play devil's advocate here for Allegri. So I know Luca thinks the same as Al and yourself. So Luca, go ahead and I'll finish it up.
All right, go ahead, Luca.
For the sake of clarity, Lou, can you just repeat what Allegri said so everyone knows? Because I can't quote it exactly. I forgot.
Yeah, so it's not exact, but what he basically said was, hey, like 21-year-olds, 21-year-olds often can be overhyped in Italy for 1, to 2 days, a couple games. He goes, but they're not at the experience level of a 27 or 28-year-old. He was kind of giving preference that, you rather want to develop that 20, 21-year-old, or maybe they're overhyped, where you, with an experienced player, you understand what you're getting.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, let's get down to the core issue here. Allegri was brought in post Pirlo in a transitional phase that the club is apparently going through. Whether that is a rejuvenation phase or whether that is just a refresh in general of the old guard, we don't know. But we do know it's a transitional phase. Now, making a comment like that when there is leaps and bounds of young talent in Italy, especially under the Juventus name, like we've got so many guys either out on loan or in our U23 team, and I'll be the first to say it. Like you could go back to last podcast. I wasn't the highest supporter of these young guys, and to a certain extent, I'm still not. But does that mean we should absolutely shun them out just because they're not as experienced? I don't know. Experience sometimes doesn't always equal results. We've seen time and time again, experienced guys make mistakes even on the biggest stages. So it's hard to comprehend some type of argument like that from Allegri, especially when you have guys like De Ligt and Vlahovic that start game in, game out, and are absolutely at the absolute peak of maturity, even though they're lacking a bit of that experience. De Ligt at 21, captain an Ajax club to semifinals, quarterfinals of the Champions League. I don't want to hear this talk about, oh, he's young, so he's not as mature and experienced. Yeah, it's true. He probably isn't. But does that mean we should, just keep all the old farts on the field? I don't agree whatsoever. So I had this discussion with Al way back at the beginning of the season. Is Max the right guy for this rejuvenation? Absolutely not. Like you brought in the absolute opposite of that mentality. But now we're stuck with him, and we have to. Well, I wouldn't say stuck. Now we have him signed, and we should follow that path. We can't, continue the carousel. So, I have faith in his ideology. I have faith that he'll find a winning formula. Does that mean disqualifying all the youth? I don't know. I feel like that's really a silly and short-term solution to something this club should not be looking at.
All right, Omar, you got the inverse of this. Let us have it. What's your defend? Look,
there are 2, maybe 3 things to address here. First of all, Max usually says stuff in interviews just take the hype down. He lies a lot of the time just to take the pressure off players. So when he says something like that, doesn't mean that all youth across the board doesn't deserve a chance and are not good enough. But there is a point to what he's saying, because if you look at, let's say, teams who won the Champions League, how many of them were built around youth and had youth in their starting 11 going into the final and the semi? Like Real Madrid, even now, if they are the best team in the Champions League this season, in my opinion, okay, Vinicius is young, same age as Vlahovic, younger than De Ligt. The rest are pretty old, and it works out. Benzema, Modric, Carvajal, you can point out Militao is 23, okay, older than De Ligt. So the youth does get chances, just not the same type of youth, because De Ligt and Vlahovic cost like 70 million each. Miretti didn't cost anything, so it's okay to bench him. You can't bench just because of seniority a player who cost you 70 million. So Max has a point to what he's saying. Those youth players, just fans expect too much of them, and if you give it to a casual Twitter fan, our entire squad will be built out of 21-year-olds, which is not the way to go. You still need some seniority to some degree, not to the level that Allegri used the senior players and tends to use them, but there is some sort of balance. There needs to be some sort of balance there. So I think it was just, he said something and people took it all the way to not playing youth at all. I don't think that's what he actually meant. Just say, calm down with these youngsters. They need time to learn. And he knows that players like Chiellini and Bonucci, they became great and leaders and know how to handle the big stages because they lost at the biggest stages. And you don't hand the keys to Miretti suddenly in a Champions League quarterfinal, but you do give it to someone like, I don't know. I don't want to say Rabiot because you'll hate me.
I understand what you're saying, though.
Chiellini lost to Real Madrid and to Bayern and to teams like that to build his character and know how to handle this type of situations. So next time he faces them, he will be more prepared mentally. And that's just something that comes with experience. The flip side of it is you don't get experience if you don't play at all. So that's where Max drops the ball a bit. But I do believe he'll give them chances to play. And look, we're fans. He's the manager. He's been doing it for a long time. He did have youth players play under him at Milan and at Cagliari. So I'll go with his experience more than mine because my experience is just as a fan.
Yeah. I think that they just, I get what he's saying, right? Like from a logic standpoint, you're right. There's a player, a 27, like if we bring in Milinkovic-Savic versus bringing in, I don't know, Fajoli, who I really rate, and I think he would help us a lot. There is an argument to say this guy has more experience. He's played in Serie A, he's played in the Champions League. Like, you understand that part of it, right? It's the same if you're going to bring in Jorginho versus Rovella, right? Hypothetically. But there is also kind of a flip side, which I think what frustrates me is not really just Allegri. It's more just Italian football as a whole kind of write these guys off. And, you look at some of the other clubs around the world, they're getting these guys in like, cup matches, midweek matches, matches against some of the smaller sides, and then they're turning them over for profit, right? And I think that because of that, they're developing a player over a year or two, and then eventually they're turning them over for, even if it's a small profit, 7, 8, 9, 15 million, it makes a difference at the end. I think that Juventus they hype up all these youngsters. They hype up their U23s. I think fans really, really just want to see it, right? And I hope, and it could sound like it when you're reading it, because obviously, like Omer said, we didn't hear Allegri say in the comments. We don't know what he directly means, but, will he give these guys a chance? Will he be open to the idea of it? I don't know. I mean, we saw Ake for a little bit this year, and Ake, disappointed a little bit. He wasn't phenomenal, but, so we understood that. Pirlo tried last year a little bit with Frabrota. It was good. It was bad. It was ugly at times, and then the club decided they wanted to move on. But I think that just Serie A as a whole needs to be more open to it, especially Juventus, because, financially, if we can't compete with big clubs across the world, we might need to start developing our own talent, and that's something that I look at and I wonder, hey, can we do this better? And optically, too, it's a little weird to say that optically, and then your manager, be pitching to 22, 23-year-olds, hey, come play for Juventus. And the manager's like, hey, experience. But we can't linger on that too much because, like I said, we have a shortened episode. Omar, thank you for playing devil's advocate. You're going to get hate in the comments
Yeah,
for
like
it. But so going from there, we have real quick news about Chiellini this week. That he's supposed to break his contract with Juventus. He might be going to an MLS club or retiring. Both of you, real quick, how sad is that?
Yeah.
You don't put it into words.
Yeah, it's
when you see the tear going down my face at the end of the season, we'll talk. But right now, there's no putting it into words. It's
I think Omar, like you were lucky you watched ADP from start to finish, right? Like Luca and I.
No, not from start to finish. I was 4 when he started.
Okay, but you watched like a
majority of his career, yeah.
Okay.
But like Lou and I did watch Chiellini from start to finish.
Yeah, like my first year as a fan, Chiellini like started at Juventus, right?
Yeah.
And then like up till now. So this one feels a little different. It just doesn't feel it's odd. It's
gonna feel identical to Buffon, if not even worse, because it wasn't just 2 goodbyes for Chiello. It's gonna be 1. And
yeah,
that's it.
Well, Buffon came back and made it feel a little bit better. Like his second goodbye.
And made it worse when he left again. It was like, again, after
it was emotional, but like it felt better because like he left, in like a better standing. The first time he left was like really weird. He like joined PSG and we were like, everyone was kind of like, oh, like what's going on here?
Yeah.
And they came back and it's like, okay, like,
okay.
like,
you didn't want to leave.
Yeah, it was weird seeing him as the second string keeper. Omar, anything to add to that?
No, Buffon was a different case because Buffon told the club that he is going to retire. So the club made movements in the market and bought in Chesney, who agreed to be a second string goalkeeper for 1 season, then replacing Buffon. But suddenly Buffon decided he doesn't want to hang up his boots yet. But he wanted to respect the club because they made purchases after what he told them. So he went to PSG, came back as second goalkeeper. It was a bit different. The first time he left was much more painful than the second time.
Yeah.
Chiellini is just... He went to hell and back with Juve early on in his career, very early. And that's what part of what made him the player that he is, the character that he is in the dressing room and everything. Like, players around the world respect him for the man he is, not only the player that he has become. And that just character building that I don't think is... We love it because it doesn't happen very often, and soon there will be no mascots for team because no player would go down to Serie B. Like you even see today, prime players and youth players with a lot of talent, they want to play in the Champions League as early as possible, and that is something that they base their club that they're going to play in. Like if this club is not in the Champions League, we can't sign this player and this player, and it's different than what it was in the past. So Chiellini is a dying breed, and we need to enjoy every second we still have with him. And he had a great run. He had a fantastic career, and we can be proud of it. And that's what you want now, be proud of your players.
That was perfect, Omar. That was. He just, and we got to see him succeed on so many levels. The Champions League is going to be something that is disappointing, but even just for the national team to see him, with the European Championship, the kind of, for all the bad that's happened with the national team in the last 8 years, to see that is something I think that all 3 of us will remember forever. So moving from there, we'll get to the match. Juventus Cagliari. This is, this is a more difficult match than it looks. Juventus have, made steady work of Cagliari over the years, but Walter Mazzarri he's always a pain to play against. He likes to park it. We have a lineup. Omar, correct me if this is wrong because I think you tweeted it out, but the lineup was Tech, Danilo, Chiellini, De Ligt, Pellegrini, Rabiot, Arthur, Zakaria, Cuadrado, Vlahovic, and Keane.
No, Dybala.
No, Dybala.
Oh, Dybala, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
My brain's already thinking Dybala has left because, enjoy that while yeah, Dybala up front. It could be a couple things. I saw we had a poll question: a 3-5-2, a 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1.
Omar, you want to say it for me, buddy?
Omar, what do you think this is?
I think it's a 3-5-2. I don't see, definitely not a 4-3-3 because. What you expect me to say 4-4-2?
I thought you said it doesn't freaking matter as long as they win the game. I was expecting
It doesn't matter, but I don't think we'll see either Cuadrado or Dybala manning the left flank.
No,
That's why I don't
no,
see it as a
It's it's definitely
4-3-3.
not. Those three up front are three up front. Like Caldado might drop a slight tad, maybe get to a 4-4-2, but I or 3-5-2, but I don't
No,
see Dybala or Vlahovic
3-5-2.
dropping.
No, 3-5-2 looks the most logical one with Pellegrini on the left. Although it's weird because Bernardeschi is on the bench and Rabiot was phenomenal in a 4-2-3-1, and
Right?
you have a
That's what
good
I
thing
found weird.
going. And now it's like I see something different once again, manning the left field. Or
I
I
found
don't
that
know, it's
interesting.
weird.
I
I,
did find that interesting.
Look, before I ask you about your thoughts, I wonder if that's maybe no Locatelli for a month. I mean, we should also add that the Morata and De Chilio are suspended from this match.
Yeah,
But no Locatelli for a month. Maybe Allegri thinks that he needs the extra man in midfield.
definitely.
Maybe.
Because they
Definitely.
miss a little bit of creativity. Is Zakaria is good at getting in the box? He has an odd goal to him. That will make up for Locatelli not being around because Arthur and Rabiot aren't really goal scoring midfielders.
Right. So what to Lou to add exactly what you're saying, because this is how we're going to transition into my thoughts. And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
I think
you're
it's you're saying it perfectly. We saw it last game. Rabiot, according to Allegri, works best in that two-man pivot. Right. He said he's better in a two-man midfield. But without as soon as Locatelli came out, you saw there was something. I wouldn't say missing, but it wasn't what it's supposed to be. So I think adding Artur in that mid gives that two-man pivot with Rabiot where they can both do what they're seemingly both good at in a two-man mid. I wouldn't put Artur in a three all the time. Now I'm seeing him better in the two, but now that gives at least Zach the opportunity to push forward and then even support them if one of them wants to go forward. Let's say whether it's Rabiot or Artur. So I think specifically with Locatelli out for a month, that three-man mid is almost a necessity. The only problem is who's your sub? Bernardeschi is your only option now
Yeah.
if one of them gets hurt. So you're really, really, really like you're playing on the edge. When you only have three mids, you're playing all of them. It's not a bad thing, but we have to start thinking like, okay, we've got the Copa to think about. If some like our injuries are terrible, so what are the odds that someone goes down again? It's pretty high.
I mean, we do have the odd chance that Weston McKennie's available. I think at the end of the month.
For the end,
Yeah, but we can't bank on that either.
No,
you
not at
can't
all.
bank on. I mean, he's been out almost 2 months. You can't bank on that.
I wouldn't bank on him.
Real quick, the match against Inter, the football was great. I mean, even when Locatelli went off and it dipped a bit, we created a lot of chances. We were just missing a goal. It was unfortunate not to pick up at least a point. Put an argument you could deserve more. What are you guys looking in this game in terms of performance? In terms of, are you looking for more of the same in the Inter match? Or are you looking for something a little bit different? What are you guys looking for in this match, and even like the end of the season, because we're no longer in the Scudetto race? What are your guys? What are you looking for from now to the end of the season, starting today?
I expect exactly what we've seen against Inter. That was a fluid Juve. That was high pressing, chance creating Juve that we haven't seen almost all season. It's bad luck that the ball didn't went in, and again, it was against the defending champions and a lot of penalties, referees, blah blah blah. I'm tired of hearing about it. It is what it is. We lost, but
Me
we
too.
did play. We did play a good game, and it was the same against Villarreal. It's just more bad luck and a bit of bad planning because obviously didn't expect Locatelli to be out of the game after 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to make do with what he had, which was Zakaria, who just came back from injury. Sandro was in the lineup. No one expected this type of performance from Rabiot.
Number 25 played okay.
25 had a good
Played
game.
okay.
25 had a good game.
Credit where it's due. He had a good game. It doesn't mean we need to re-sign him or anything. Just had a good game. Storaro had good games here and there.
Twitter has told me otherwise. But go ahead.
What about the other number we should not speak of?
Which one? No, I want to see a goal from Vlahovic. He needs to get back on the scoreboard and get his confidence back up a bit, maybe. And not all due to his fault, just a bit of bad luck, a bit of tight marking. Inter just needed to defend for the second half. They didn't need to do anything, and it becomes a lot harder. Cagliari is a tough place. The crowd is known for racist chants. I bet he'll get some gypsy chants out of the crowd. So hopefully it will go out smooth. They're not a good team this season. We should win against them. Although they have Italy's top striker in Joao Pedro, our savior for the World Cup.
And
And
Villanova, who Juventus is interested in.
oh yeah, Villanova, and if Cliff was here, then Nathan Nandez, the Almighty.
Nandez.
Yeah, the
I
Almighty.
forgot
Nandez.
about that, Joe.
All right.
Yeah,
because-
Cliff, I love you.
Because we're closing out some minutes, Luca, real quick, what are you expecting from this match?
What am I expecting from this match? Shit. I'm expecting a lot of stubbornness. I don't expect the same form as we had versus Inter. I really don't. I think the lack of, and I hate to say this, but the lack of Morata is gonna play a big role up front, because now you're replacing him basically with a midfield. So rather than 4-2-3-1, you're going almost for a 4-3-3, I'd say. And that's what I see it as, which is not a bad thing. I still think with the players we have available, this is our best lineup. But it won't be the same. I think that left flank, you're replacing Sandro and Morata for Pellegrini, and I'm gonna assume Dybala is gonna be on that left. I might be wrong, but it won't be the same. What I expect is a hard-nosed Cagliari, a hard defense. To break it down is gonna be another pain in the rear. I'm not going to swear. I'm trying to be nice. But the reality is, if we do like last game and we just don't score, we're not going to win this game. So don't care how it's done. It could be Szczesny scoring the goal. I don't care. As long as he gets in the back of the net, I'll be happy. But it's definitely not going to be an easy game. I think I'm going to be pulling my hair out by 3:00 this afternoon.
We need an early goal. That's what I
Yeah.
feel
Oh,
like.
certainly.
Get that early goal, take the pressure off, and then
Sit back and
wanna
allow
see,
pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I see like a 3-0 win, maybe.
I'm looking
if that
for
happens.
Yeah. So Omar's got 3-0. I'm gonna go 2-0, and I'm gonna say I just want continuity. I want, I don't need to have the same performance as Inter, but I need to see, like players like number 25 or
Or
like
12.
Brady, stepping in, playing well, maybe a little bit more intensity, just some continuity building into the end of the season. Let's build on some momentum that we've carried for the last couple of months, where we were on a very long unbeaten streak till now. So that's what I'm looking for, some continuity. Big thing for me today, I really want to watch Arthur, because this is a great chance for him and Zakaria. There were some rumors about Arthur or Rabiot maybe making way, one of the two. So we'll see. But I think it's a big month for Arthur. I'm going to be polite today, Luca. I'm not going to set you off, because we.
No. I'm not falling for this absolute crap.
I mean, I'm going to slander him.
I know I'm going to log in at 2:45, and at 2:46, either you or Daniel Lucci are going to say, "Oh, this guy sucks. Get this guy off my team."
Listen, I'm all about my agendas, and I'm very open about it. So
then don't give me this crap that you're going to be looking forward to. You're looking forward for him to make a mistake, then you can rip me a new one. Let's
listen. I said I was looking forward to it. I didn't say what I was looking forward to.
Okay, well played. Well played.
I said I was looking forward to it. And where's Alexander P when you need him? Because he loves to get
Quiet today. Where? I don't see him anywhere.
Where is he? But yeah, so I got 2-0. Omar, you got 3-0.
If we get an early goal, that's what I'm expecting.
Okay.
I don't think it will happen, but I do expect a win.
Okay, Luca, what do you got?
1-0.
You're such
1-0.
a grump.
That's it.
Man.
1-0. It's Max Allegri versus Cagliari. It's 1-0. I'm telling you.
That's why he's not on the podcast a lot, if you're wondering.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
he's
yeah,
listening.
because I'm realistic.
He's so grumpy.
Don't throw in a good story with the truth.
So those are the predictions. We got 3-0 with an early goal. We got 2-0. We got 1-0. All wins. But we just went down the descending ladder. Real quick, Raspadori, good move, right? Everyone agrees on that? Omar? Maybe? Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Okay.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah. I'm a fan of it. Lucas is a fan of it. Omar's a maybe. That's fair. All right. Everyone, thank you for tuning into this mini all Luve cast. We're sorry it's not a regular full episode. A little bit of a scramble this morning. But enjoy the match. We will be back tomorrow for post-match. And remember, as always, like, subscribe the video, re-listen, follow these knuckleheads on Twitter. Their handles are right there. They're okay. Strike Parts Apparel, there'll be more drops. There'll be some good stuff coming out, and we appreciate your support as always. Thank you everyone for tuning in.